Held2gether presents a night of stand-up comedy featuring students from the Held2gether stand-up comedy program, hosted by Mallory White. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Mallory White.
Unmute. Hi. Welcome to another night of Held2gether's night of stand-up comedy. I am so happy to be here again, and I'm happy to see you. Thank you for showing up for us. I'm your host tonight, okay? And I have 10 comics waiting in their Zoom rooms to make you laugh. I know you all need it on this Friday at the end of another pandemic week. We all need to laugh. So that's what we're here to do, okay? I just want to remind you that stand-up is usually done in front of a live audience, right? And so, you know, we're all learning how to write jokes and send them out there. So when you do it live, you get immediately feedback from people, whether or not the joke landed, whether they liked it, didn't like it, whatever. So I encourage you, if you're watching this on YouTube and you have the chat too, you like a joke, you know, just put clapping hands or something, let us know. And when we go back, we can see what you liked, and that will help us become better comics and be funnier. Okay, so help us out with that. I am gonna get us started. And, you know, I wanna actually talk a little bit about Zoom rooms. Because let's face it, it's like month 5, here we are, we're pretty familiar with Zoom rooms, right? But they're kind of weird, honestly. I mean, most Zoom rooms really make you miss, you know, like professionals, like camera people and stuff like that, right? It's kind of like letting the kids cook dinner. It's cute, but we're ordering pizza. You know, we're not going to really eat that. Because, you know, we're amateurs, let's face it. I mean, there's the bungee cord Zoom room, and that's where the person in the Zoom room like bounces back and forth while they're doing their thing. And you're like, whoa, I get a little dizzy there. There's the peekaboo Zoom room, okay? Now you see them, now you don't. I'm back again, right? They disappear. What happens there? There's the nasal Zoom room where you get a really spectacular view of the interior of somebody's nose, like boogers, nose hairs, and, you know, miscellaneous white powder. None of that in my nose, but okay. Black Hawk Down, you know, that Zoom room where there's propeller up there, it's their ceiling fan, and it's making it look like they're gonna take off any second. Pretty exciting. Oh, there's my favorite. It's called the doggy paddle Zoom room. So what this is like, look, the person is like struggling. It looks like they're struggling in a swimming pool, and it just, their chin is down the bottom and they're sinking. You know, it hides neck flab, and it's Mitch McConnell's favorite. And then there's the breast cleavage Zoom room. And, you know, I don't really think I have to break that one down for you. We all know what that is, right? Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to introduce the first comic. Let's check out his Zoom room, Rico Tamayo. Are you ready? Hello, Rico.
Hi, how are you? So I want to speak to you, America, about a few things that are really important, especially at this crucial time before an election that could make or break this country. As a veteran, well, not a veteran per se, but as someone who drives by the Veterans Hospital on my way back from In-N-Out, and more importantly, as a man living with a disability, the disability of having a very large penis, I want to say you must do your civic duty and make sure you vote in this election. Make your voice heard. You know, I'm a registered Democrat, and one of my very dear friends, Tom, well, he's a registered Republican. And Tom still believes that Trump is the man, the right man to destroy our country. And when I asked him why, he said, well, he's not a pussy. Even though, you know, I said, Todd, he grabs. He said, look, he's done a lot of firsts. He's our first blonde president, and that counts for something. And then Tom just went on and on. He said, you know, Trump's made millions sitting in Trump Tower, and he fires people. He's strong. He got rid of Melissa Rivers from the Apprentice. He knows what he's doing. He's good at business. Now, Tom, I love him to death, but he's not a man of science per se. Like, once he didn't believe me when I told him that the moon does not make its own light. No, it's the sun's reflection bouncing off the moon. I mean, I tried to show him, like in 4th grade, with a flashlight and an orange, and he just yelled, "Fake science" at me. And then he ran out and threw up in the alley outside of the Hooters, where he was having an anniversary party for his mom and dad. Now, I've tried to reason with Tom that Trump is just not, in my opinion, not the right guy to run this country. And I thought maybe if I mixed a little bit of fact with fiction, he might get it. I said, Tom, just last week, the Senate Intelligence Committee, this is both Republican and Democrat, and chaired by Republicans, came out with a report that said beyond the shadow of a doubt, Trump's campaign people were in direct contact with Russian intelligence to undermine the 2016 election. There's no denying it. And he just kept looking at me. So that's when I started to go for it. And I said, Tom, don't you remember Rocky IV? When Rocky had to kick Ivan Drago's Russian ass to save the USA? Don't you remember James Bond killing all those bad guys from Russia with love? Don't you remember Harrison Ford having to kick Gary Oldman's butt? He was the Russian hijacker on Air Force One. And Harrison Ford said, "Get off my plane." Tom, I kept going. This is my last trying to convince him. I said, at the DNC, even Mariska Hargitay said, vote for Joe Biden as if your life depends on it. And he said, who? Tom, Mariska Hargitay, Sergeant Olivia Benson from Law and Order, Special Victims Unit? Dun dun. It must have done something, because he looked at me, he said, oh yeah. And then he burped, because it was already 10 o'clock and he had started day drinking. And he leaned over and he farted, because he always eats chili for breakfast. And then he looked me right in the eye and he said, Rico, I'll think about it. And in that moment, the sadness and the fear and the anger of having to live with a very large penis lifted. And for the first time in a very long time, I thought, things just might turn out okay.
Woo! Yay, Rico. Thank you, Rico. That was great. I think maybe Meghan McCain might have thrown up in a Hooters parking lot at one time. I think she said that on her show, The View. But anyway, that was funny. Thank you. Okay, put your hands together for Mr. Cale Schwartzman. Cale, are you ready? Hey.
I'm ready. All right, guys, like all of you, hopefully, I have been using an extreme amount of hand sanitizer lately. And my bottle says that it kills germs in 15 seconds. But I feel like I need more than just their word. I really wish they would add something like maybe pop rocks to it to give the illusion, at least, that I could really feel that those 99.9% of those motherfuckers dying in my hands. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of disaster movies lately, and I find myself wondering, how would I react in a real emergency situation unfolding right in front of me? And in my mind, I'm the hero and I save everybody and it goes great. My ex-girlfriend used to say that I would probably freeze up and not save anyone at all, but I don't care what she thinks anymore. She drowned when we were at the beach last week. I try to get out into nature once in a while to reconnect with Mother Earth, go for a hike, but I get really self-conscious because of this weird law of nature where it says that the smaller the body of water that I come across, the more pathetic I will look when trying to jump over it. I mean, it's that we've all been there. We've all done it, right? We've all seen it. The arms go back like this at the peak of the jump, back foot goes higher than you ever thought possible. And I realized it's because the stakes are so high. If you fuck up jumping over like a tiny little nothing puddle, that shit stays with you for the rest of your life. Keeps you up at night. How those squirrels were definitely laughing at me. Anyway, I drink Gatorade sometimes because I like to stay hydrated and absolutely overflowing with sugar. But sometimes it's hard for me to choose a flavor because some of their flavors are not actually things you can taste, like Riptide Rush, for instance. Now I'm picturing we got these food scientists. They're all gathering in their tiny little boat, about to set off around the world to find new flavors. And all of a sudden their boss is like, "Hey Ted, why don't you jump into that rip current, see what that's all about?" So Ted jumps overboard and immediately he's swept out to sea and he's drowning in the riptide and he's like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah." And they're all on the ship like, "Yeah, but what's it taste like?" "Oh, nope, he's gone. He went quick. Just write down purple. We'll figure it out." And then there's one called Icy Charge. Now I picture that the food scientists, they made it to their shore somewhere and they're hiking up a snowy mountain on an icy ridge, Lord of the Rings style. And then all of a sudden, a wild yak comes charging out of nowhere and just hits one of them, poof, right off the cliff. And he's all like, "Ah!" And they're all like, "But what's it taste like?" And he's all like, "Tastes like blue." And then there's one called Glacier Cherry. So that's when the rest of the group finally made it to the top of that mountain. And the head boss guy is like, "All right, $50 bonus for the first one who fucks that glacier, tells me what it tastes like." Apparently it tastes like white. That's it for me. I'm Kale. Thank you. Bye.
Yay, Cal. Woo! Wow. I wanna toss that snotty squirrel in the riptide. I mean, squirrels laugh at everybody. They're assholes, you know? You know, earlier today, I was trying to remember what day it was. And I remember, oh yeah, I'm doing this. So it's Friday, which means tomorrow's Saturday. And yesterday was Thursday. And that's kind of how it's been for me lately. It's like day after day is the same. There's no difference in my life, you know, because I haven't left the house in like 5 months, right? I stay put right here in the village of agoraphobia in COVID County, the United States of Jamaica. This is where I am. Once in a while, I'll try to remember the date, but that's really challenging, right? I mean, my roommate says, you don't have to remember the date if you never leave the house. And I said, well, how am I going to know when my Xanax expires? Anyway, it's for me, remembering the date is like coronavirus algebra, right? You remember that equation, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? It describes a right triangle, right? And for those of you who are busy drawing penises on your desk during math or checking out the teacher's ass at the board, that's what it does. It describes the right triangle. Well, today I solved the coronavirus equation, right? The equation is v squared plus t squared equals f squared, right? Virus squared plus Trump squared equals, we are so fucked. And that describes the wrong triangle. Anyway, maybe the next comic could help us out with, these mathematical difficulties. And that person there, hi, Melissa Joe, welcome.
Thanks, Mallory. So I have a hunch that more women do DNA testing than men. I mean, mainly it's because we know exactly if and when we gave birth and exactly how many offspring we have. For men, it's a different story. I mean, come on, donating sperm takes like 2 minutes, maybe faster if you have high-speed internet and don't have to deal with buffering. Sperm can definitely be a curse. It's like shaking a bottle of soda and then it just explodes everywhere. And then the doorbell rings 20 years later and someone looking like a younger version of your high school prom date shows up. Surprise! I'll keep my tiny finite stash of 350 eggs. Thank you very much. So I'm adopted and I've always had this bit of an identity crisis because I didn't know who my birth parents were. And my maiden name was Nakagawa. And so everyone knew I was Japanese. It's like if you're an O'Malley or Martinez. No one needs to ask. Then I got married and became a Joe, D-Y-O. It's a weird Japanese name. And then all of a sudden overnight, people did not know what I was anymore. If that wasn't bad enough, they would try to argue with me about the name Joe. That's not a Japanese name, it's too short. There's not enough syllables. What about the vowel consonant rule? Nah, that has to be like Vietnamese, Chinese, or Korean. After the 10th time, I was like, maybe I'm not Japanese. I mean, I was literally like gaslighting myself. So I finally decided to sign up for a DNA test to find out my true ethnicity once and for all, maybe some significant medical history, and most important, so I could answer the dreaded, where are you from? Long Beach? No, where are you from? My DNA results came in and I was super excited until I opened it and it said 100% Asian. Yeah, no kidding there, 100% Asian. Give me my $100 back, Ancestry. Would they do that to white people? 100% Caucasian. No way. Ancestry.com for white people is like getting ice cream at 31 flavors. Yes, I'll have the Welsh, Irish, the Scottish, and a scoop of Scandinavian, thank you. I guess when they were making the Asian flavor menu, they ran out of ideas for names. Hey Earl, what should we call this one? Charlie Chan Chip? Coffee Nip? Nah, screw it, I'm tired after doing this case of Europeans. I don't know, they all look alike and taste alike. Let's just call them all Asians. Well, at least they didn't call me Oriental. So being Asian, I've also had to deal with stereotypes, like the bad Asian driver. And I really think Asians carry a heavier burden when we drive. When most people do stupid things on the road, they don't think twice about it. When I forget to signal or accidentally cut somebody off, I have shamed my entire race, reinforced a negative stereotype, and become that crazy Chinese lady. Would they do that to a white middle-aged man? Hey, watch it, you Polish Irish idiot. Oh, shoot, sorry, Sean. Sorry, man, sorry. I wonder if this applies to other Asian stereotypes. Like if I was in a math class and the teacher called me up to the board to do a complex problem. Excellent work, that's how it's done, class. As I sulk back to my chair thinking, great, I've just reinforced that stereotype. I even try to make it a point to speak really clearly so that people don't think I have an accent. Oh, wow, you speak English really good. I speak well, and my family immigrated here 3 generations before yours, you idiot. I mean, I should be a little bit easier on people, because not all racial insults are mean-spirited. They're just uninformed. An uneducated racist. Then there's the kind racist. Like my kindergarten teacher when my adopted dad, who's also Japanese, picked me up, and my teacher said, "Oh, you look just like your father." What you talking about, Dad? I'm adopted. She's just saying that because she thinks all Asians look alike. Did she do this to all the kids? Like even Billy Johnson? Billy, you look just like your mom. I mean those round eyes and strong Aryan features. Then there's the subtle racist. Hmm. Is that cinnamon? Or paprika? Oh, I got it, it's racism. Like the time I picked up a temporary nursing shift at a local hospital and the charge nurse looked at my badge and she was like, "Melissa, is that your real name?" No, it's really Sung Hae, but that's too hard for Americans to say, so I just picked Melissa. What I really wanted to say was, "Barbara, is that your real name? Or is it Hildegard? Heil Hitler." Stay safe, everyone, and don't be a racist.
Oh my God, so funny. Hildegard, that is a scary name.
Woo!
I know I'm 100% vanilla. I mean, right. And you guys know that, even my last name. Anyway, Sean, you're up next, and don't be offended. She was just kidding about that Polish Irish thing.
Oh, never, Mallory, never. Hey, I always love the shout out. Thanks, Melissa. Wait till the next stand up, see what I got for you. Hi, Mallory, thank you. Thanks, Held2gether. I'm Sean Hanaway. Do you guys ever get the sense the older you get, the more dumb stuff you want to do? For me, it's camping. Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about, pitching a tent in a backyard close enough to your house so you still get Wi-Fi, and you let your 2 daughters watch Frozen for the 51st time, and then you hike around the neighborhood with your Big Bird flashlights. No, I'm talking about real camping. I'm talking about putting on that brown shirt that was designed in the 1940s, that big floppy hat with the neck protector, and finding those hiking boots you had in the closet since college and you've only worn once. Real camping experience, right? Well, the one thing I find out is, you know what? I love my house. And I love the fact that this house is making me soft. I love the fact that I have so many streaming services. I can't tell the difference between the characters in Ozark and The Morning Show. I love the fact that I grind beans from a small South American village that I can't pronounce, and I top off my latte with an adorable smiley face while turning up my AC to the perfect temperature to storing meat. And I love the fact that I can go to my oversized bathroom, take a dump while I'm reading my left-leaning newspaper and streaming the last season of Billions. Now, come on. The great outdoors? Really? Really? Yeah, it's overrated at best. In reality, what it is going into an outhouse, taking a shit with flies all over you, and you try to stand up because you can't, because you've been sleeping on granite for the last 5 nights, and you're gripping the last can of bear spray because you're scared Yogi's going to come by and knock on your tent and take a bite out of you like a big piece of jerky. So what I've discovered is I like the idea of camping. I like the idea of the pine scent, the wind blowing in your face, the sound of the woodland creatures that sound exactly like the Bear Grylls episode on Man vs. Wild. So I pulled all of my middle-aged angst together and the fear of getting stung by the one murder hornet that's in the lower 48 states. I packed up my family and I went camping. And 5 minutes into the trip, reality hits. You mean I got to put my water and my food and carry it and then set up my own house every night? You know, there's a reason why. There's a reason why we created houses. Because without houses, you realize that I'm lazy, my kid and my wife are entitled, and people tend to die outside, like a lot. And so while I set up my house for the night, a nice camp ranger comes by, and he goes like, hi neighbor. Don't forget to hang your food from a tree so the bears don't get it. What am I, a savage? Do I look like I drink instant coffee? And as he's walking away down the path, he says, hey, by the way, there's a great trail that your family will love right over there. I know that's bullshit. But anyway, I take my family on the hike, and it ends the same way as always. My kids hate me because I've taken them on an endless walk with no point. My wife wants to divorce me because she knew it would end this way, and it's not as nice as a great hotel. And it's just one of those things that drives you crazy. But what happens is I have to prove it to myself that I can do this. I can prove it to me, I can prove it to my family, and I can prove it to that asshole Dave, my neighbor, who's like a camping god. So what I do is I deposit my wife into the air-conditioned gift store circa 1940. And I find that one park bench that gets a half a cell of service in the whole park. So my kids can play the slowest game of Fortnite ever. I put on my backpack and I hike for 2 hours to the top of a 3,000-foot overlook. There, I take a deep breath and I get to know myself. But come on. Who really wants to get to know themselves? I'm a middle-aged man with psychological issues that I cover up with late-night internet binging of different products and Friends reruns. And the only bear-proof container I ever want to purchase in my life is a deluxe fridge with ice on the door, plenty of room for beer, and endless Rocky Road ice cream. And as my friend Dave, the asshole neighbor, is packing up his car to go on a camping trip, I do think about it for a little bit. It would be nice if my family would do that. But then I realize 10 minutes after they set up their tent, they're going to be playing a game of Uno to the death for the last Pringles chip at the bottom of the can. And as he's driving off, I wave and I'm smiling, thinking that no camping guy neighbor next to me will ever have as much fun as I will, as me binge watching 5 hours of The Mandalorian while eating 3 pints of Baskin Robbins. Fuck you, Dave, the camping guy. I'm Sean Hanaway. Thanks.
All right, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Civilization rocks, right? We love it. All right. Let's see. I just wanted, I was thinking the other day about the novel Coronavirus. I think about it every day, right? And we're all pretty familiar with that by now. I know I read about it every day, but what about the coronavirus novel, right? Just like everything else, the pandemic has rocked the publishing industry, and there's this whole new bunch of books coming out with COVID themes. And I've been checking out some of them. I want to share some titles with you, okay? There's one called The Asymptomatic in the Attic. It's an ABC book for kids. Yeah, my grandniece loves it. And then there's the PPE Bandito. Who was that masked man? It's a Western, and it's got a soundtrack. It goes, I'm gonna take my horse, I'm gonna put a horse. I'm screwing that up. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Then there's this one that I keep right on my nightstand. It's called The Seductive Super Spreader, and it's the intimate chronicles of a pandemic playa, erotica. And then there's the hydroxychloroquine hoax. Yes, for more serious readers, Finding the Cure for Presidential Madness, Political Science. And then we have, this one really resonates with me. Year 2019. I went places and did things, a memoir. And finally, a medical reality thriller that, wow, listen to this title. Smackdown at the ICU, when COVID-infected anti-maskers meet their ventilators. Wow, I cannot wait to see that on Netflix. While we're waiting for Netflix to load, let's bring on the next comic, Camille Aragon. Hey, Camille.
Hey. Yes, thank you so much for having me tonight. So just to introduce myself to folks who I don't know yet, I'm Camille. I'm a first-generation Filipino-American, Harvard-educated yoga teacher. That's right, I took my parents' immigrant sacrifice and my hard-earned Ivy League degree and used it to teach rich white people how to look up their own buttholes. It's my anti-racism work, and it's very important. Some of the biggest shit talkers I know are my Filipina aunties, and I have loved learning how to talk shit back to them. Like before, my Filipina aunties are like, Camille, don't you want to get married and have a baby? You're in your 30s. And I would be like, Auntie, didn't you get married and divorced to a dance instructor who turned out to be gay? But nowadays, I'm starting to value their perspective. They'll be like, Camille, don't you want to have a baby? And I'll be like, I think I do. I think I do, but it's confusing because I don't know if it's just my body, because my brain knows that some of the guys I've been dating recently are not ready for kids. But my body is like, hurry the fuck up already. So the other day I was shopping for my cousin's newborn, and I was in the baby aisle at TJ Maxx looking at all this baby stuff, and I just start lactating. My body was like, give us a purpose. My poor boobs have no reason to exist except for my own joy at this point. They decided to call me a selfish bitch when I looked down at them. So that's the relationship I'm going through with my body at the moment. It's very special. I also really want to feel more comfortable when I go to my friends' kids' birthday parties, because as a childless person who goes to their friend's kid's birthday party, it's very awkward sometimes, because going to a kid's birthday party when you don't have a kid is kind of like going to a dog park when you don't have a dog. You're just kind of like, okay, I guess I'll borrow one of these and return them later. I always leave my friends' kids' birthday parties and anyone I know who has a young child, I always leave the same way. I say, all right, I'm gonna go and have a full night's sleep. Have fun. I sense though that I am preparing for this next phase in my life because I'm really becoming more selective in the men that I'm dating. And I used to date really hot, steamy, mysterious dudes, you know, like musicians, guys that rode motorcycles, that kinds of things. And nowadays, I just don't care if they have like a bunch of diverse interests. I really care if they have a bunch of diverse investments. I am trying to up-level financially. So that's really important to me. And then my friends tell me I'm too picky. But when your friends tell you, ladies, that you're too picky when it comes to a partner, what they really mean is you need to lower your standards. And I'm not about that. My friend, the last dude, I had to end things with him. And it was because he was needy and terrible in bed. And my friend told me I'm too picky. I was like, you are a bitch. Would you want to spend the rest of your life with someone who prematurely ejaculates and then asks you to cuddle? Do you know how many Kegels it takes to make a dude with a small dick feel good? Thank God I'm a yoga teacher. I get paid to do that. I had a friend over before COVID started, and she asked me as she stood next to my bedroom if that's where the magic happened. And I was like, girl, I wish I knew. A magician. I just want to meet a man who can make his penis disappear and reappear and disappear and reappear and disappear and reappear. That's all I want. But I do think that the most amazing magic trick would be to have a man to just appear emotionally available. Because I don't think that men understand that when you become emotionally available to a woman, your whole world just opens up. It's like a secret. A key is unlocked. Guys don't realize the power they have by being emotionally available, because if they did, there would be no single man out there. I'm going to tell all of you the secret right now. So take notes. The secret is when a man makes himself emotionally available to a woman, a clitoris gets its wings. That's the message I want to leave you with tonight. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great night. I'm Camille.
Woo!
Camille.
Great stuff, Camille. Listen, I'm into numbers tonight, so I want to know how many Kegels it does take. So, you can put that in the chat. Hi, Corrine Martinez is here, and she's a very funny person. Corrine, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, I'll say goodbye, and I'll be back.
It was always so embarrassing to be around my dad and husband because they're both cheap. Not in the tacky gigolo sense, but economically frugal. I drove my dad to McDonald's for lunch, but since it was a laundry day, he had on a stained white t-shirt, shorts, socks, and Cortez sneakers. I asked him to wear something else because I felt self-conscious that my dad looked like an old Mexican gangbanger. He said, it's just McDonald's, besides we're going to the drive-through. But then I had to use the bathroom, so we ended up having to order inside. When I came out of the bathroom, my dad was proudly holding a Happy Meal. So I was confused and quite frankly, a little panic stricken because he didn't have his wallet. So I thought, did my dad beat up a 5-year-old for free nuggets? Then this Karen begins to chastise me that I'm a poor excuse for a social worker. I said, what are you talking about? Then Karen said that she asked my dad if he was hungry because he looked like a homeless World War II veteran. And he said yes. So she ended up buying him a Happy Meal. At this point, I'm furious. I tell Karen, he is not homeless. It's laundry day, okay? And I have money to feed my dad. I asked my dad what happened, and he said the middle-aged hag bought him food because he's handsome. I said, she didn't think you were handsome. She thought you were homeless. My dad said, free is free, and I'm not letting you play with my Hot Wheels toy. There was a Peruvian restaurant called Wakatai that my dad and I frequented when I lived at home, and the server took a liking to my dad. She asked him what part of Peru he was from. So he whispered to me, "Is Lima a city?" I said, "Yeah, it's actually the capital." So he said, "Oh, I'm from Lima." "Oh, really? Me too. Does your daughter speak Spanish also?" And so my dad whispered to me, "Talk good. I want free food." So I spoke a little bit of Spanish, and the waitress was so impressed that she brought us free ceviche for an appetizer. The next time we went, the waitress asked my dad if he had a wife. She had her hand on his shoulder. I thought that was kind of creepy. And he just pointed to his fat, ringless finger. So the next thing, we get free picarones, which are Peruvian donuts. So I was embarrassed and offended. I told my dad, first of all, you are too obese to fit into your wedding ring. And I'm telling mom because the waitress thinks that you're a widower. My dad said, "Oh, is that what viudo means?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I thought that she was talking about voodoo." So once I told my mom that he was flirting up a storm, she went with us the third time to Wakatai. And of course, the gray train stopped. The waitress asked, "Who is she?" And I said, "Es mi mamá, it's my mom, la esposa de él, his wife." My dad said, "No, mi ceviche." Now, my husband is just as bad, if not worse, than my dad. We were at a Chinese fast food restaurant. And the owner was just really staring at my husband's face. So the owner had asked him, "Are you Chinese?" Actually, my husband is. He's a Chinese Mexican. So he, embarrassingly enough, bowed and said "ni hao," which is hello. And the owner asked him where his relatives were from. He asked me, and I said, "I don't know, Shanghai." So he said, "That's where they're from. They're from Shanghai." So the owner smiled and gave him a free giant chicken egg roll. And I thought, dude, I'm Asian. I'm going to get one too. So I asked the owner, "Can I have one?" And he asked me if I was Chinese. So I felt conflicted. I thought, well, should I lie? I mean, what if he can tell? So I said, "I used to be." And he's like, "Used to be?" I was like, "Why, I was yesterday." I was like, "Oh, come on, please just give me an egg roll. I'm fat, Asian, and hungry." And wouldn't you know it, the SOB said, no egg roll for you because you're Japanese. And I said, no, me ceviche. I realized that I may be cheap too. I mean, I steal all of the jelly at Denny's so I don't have to buy any. I am so cheap, I'll use any language I know to get free food. Usually when my husband and I go to a certain El Pollo Loco, we order in Spanglish because we end up getting free soda while we're waiting. Well, this worker looked like he spoke Spanish. So I read his name tag. I addressed him as Adrian. I said, "Adrian, yo quiero ordenar la familia dinner, los 10 pedazos, the 10-piece familia dinner." He said, "What?" And I said, "What?" And I asked him, "What kind of Mexican are you? You don't speak Spanish." And he asked me, "Well, what kind of you are you?" I said, "I am ceviche." Thank you. I'm Corrine Martinez, and that's my time.
Oh my God, that was great. Thank you.
Hey, Corinne.
Woohoo! Yeah.
That's my favorite language, Spanglish. I'm going to do something about that because it's so forgiving. You can start in one language, in English, and if you forget a word, you can put it in Spanish, start in Spanish, forget a word, put it in English. It's just my favorite. But anyway, let's bring up the next guest. His name is Leon Romero. Are you ready, Leon?
Yes, I am. I'm here. Wow, great sets, everyone. So nice. So, the pandemic is making my hair grow long. I love it. It's so freeing, and it's given me an attitude of who gives a shit. So when my neighbors complain about the trees growing or the leaves falling, who cares? My hair is growing. If my friends make fun of me, so what? My hair is growing. And if family thinks I'm going astray, big deal. My hair is growing out. You know, long hair has privileges. Going to the beach, I get preferential parking because dudes with long hair can park anywhere. At the market, straight to the express lane for checkout. Dudes with long hair don't wait in lines. And while I'm driving, don't think about cutting me off, not with this long hair. And with the long hair, it seems dirtier and people are attracted to it and they want to be around me. Finally, long hair attracts people. So I need a number dispenser now. There's so many people wanting to see me. So, you know, selfies are horrible for me. They are my mug shots. And they are so stressful because I get judged by how I look in a selfie. No matter what I accomplished, it all wounds up on how I look in a selfie. So it's stressful for me. When I was younger, it was simple. Just extend my arm out and click. Instant photo. Looks decent, send it out. Now, as I'm getting older, those selfies are not that favorable. So when someone asks, hey, Leon, I need a pic, I said, sure, give me 8 hours. 8 hours? Yes, I need to sleep. I need to put an ice pack on my eyes to get rid of the puffiness. I need a shower, shave. I gotta exfoliate and put some cream on. Then I'll be ready. But wait, I need to take 100 photos to get at least one photo. Then I'm ready. So the other day I was at Staples and I noticed a product, a pick stick. That name sounds interesting. So I bought it and brought it home, and lo and behold, it's a tripod where you can put your camera and set it 10 feet away, set the timer, and click. Voila. A great, decent looking picture without much hassles. Thank goodness for those stick pics. So, you know, I've had a lot of stomach bouts over the years. You know, stomach pains, lactose intolerant. So I have just omitted sauces from all types of food because I need to take care of myself. And who gives a shit if what everyone says, because I have long hair. So anyhow, when I go to a French restaurant, I order a French dip sandwich without the dip. So I get a rare French stare, and the owner says, Monsieur, excusez-moi, no deep? And I say, oui, no deep. So at a Mexican restaurant, I order an enchilada without sauce or creams or cheese, and a taco definitely without chili. And the server looks at me and says, Senor, what type of Latino are you? And I say, I'm a cheeseless, sauceless, creamless type of Latino. So house dinners are challenging. So as soon as I walk in, I make my way to the kitchen. I peek into the stove. Yikes, that's gonna cause me to go to the restroom. Then I looked at the pots, open up the lids. Whoa, that's not good at all. So I know I'm definitely going to the restroom. So I take a peek in the restroom and I see that they have cheap pandemic single ply toilet paper that feels like sandpaper. So that makes up my mind up really quick. I'm not going to eat at this place because I don't want to be stuck in this toilet wiping with that cheap pandemic paper. So as people are in the living room, chatting, catching up with one another, I'm thinking about what am I going to do, or how am I going to get out of from eating from here? So I thought, well, I'll just be honest. So I tell the host, you know, thanks for inviting me, but I'm not going to eat here because I don't want to be stuck in your bathroom using that cheap pandemic single ply toilet paper that feels like sandpaper. So excuse me for being blunt, but I'm not going to eat, and I'm not going to have any food to go. So I'm just being honest. And this long hair keeps the honesty. That's it, folks. Thank you.
All right, Leon.
Yeah.
Listen, Leon, I have a bone to pick with you. I think you're the hippie that stole my parking spot. How could you? All right. Do you guys ever think about sex workers? I've been worrying about everything in this pandemic, and I never used to be this kind of person, but I'm worried about everything and everybody. And I've been worried about sex workers because, COVID has to be a really hard time for them. It used to be that all that sex workers had to worry about basically was contracting STDs. Well, now they have to worry about getting COVID, right? So talk about your essential workers. Their motto is, we're essentially screwed. Who would you rather fuck? Somebody with clap or somebody with COVID? Well, there's a cure for one of them. I can just imagine the sex workers' checklist when they go to work during the pandemic. Condom, check. N95, check. Industrial strength antibacterial lube, check. All right, let's check out our next comedian, who is Emmanuel Hayden. Hello.
Hello. All right. So I recently turned 21. Now don't get excited because it's really not that exciting. For everyone else, it's just like, yeah, we're gonna get hammered. We're gonna go to the clubs and I'm gonna get hammered. Watch how many shots I can take before I look like I died. But for me, it's not that important because basically it's really, I can already vote and I can't rent a car. I can drink and that's it. That's really it. I have been drinking a lot more coffee. It's a bit of a problem, well, according to most people. It's not really a big deal. All I do is have a coffee pot right next to my bed so I can have it right when I get out of bed and then walk to my kitchen so I can have it timed and then I'll have a coffee there ready by the time I finish my bed coffee. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Whoops. I do like coffee though. Can you tell? I don't know why people don't like hot earth juice, and that's okay. Just stay as far away from me as you possibly can. When people wake up and you realize you're out of coffee, you're just like, ugh, I need coffee. Well, I don't want to go anywhere. I'll do it tomorrow. Which never happens, by the way. It's always the same thing. I'll do it tomorrow. Next day, I'll do it tomorrow. Next day, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, it is weird going to a coffee shop because I do drink with my left hand. I'm a lefty for those who don't know. And people are always shocked to see that I'm left-handed. Or it's like, you're left-handed? Whoa! Guys, look, he's left-handed. Take a picture. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm left-handed. We exist. Hello. I would not want to break my left hand because if I did, I'd be like, well, guess I'm not doing anything for 6 weeks. Because you don't want to be a righty. There's enough of those already. Lefties are an endangered species. Yeah. They don't advertise, but people notice way too much. Way too much. It is weird. I do have a friend who's ambidextrous. Hey, let me tell you, I can't stand those people. They always brag about how cool they are. I was like, oh, my left hand's getting tired. Oh, I'll use my right hand. Because I can, and you can't. Sucker. They're the type of people who go on America's Got Talent. They'll just be like, all right, what's your talent? Hello, I'm James, and I'm ambidextrous. Great, now what's your talent? What's my talent? Well, let me tell you. I can write with both hands, and I can paint with both hands, and I can play the piano with both hands, and also my hamster died. Wow, you're an inspiration to all of us. You have 4 yeses. Congratulations, and golden buzzer. That's what I've been watching during the quarantine. That and eating at home are really the only things that have been helping me keep my sanity for the most part. The only reason why I like eating at home is because I don't have to deal with the dang waiter coming every second when you had your mouth full. You ever notice how the waiter's always like, how's everything doing? You're just like, because you can't say anything. You can't say if it's good or bad. Yeah, you always get the passive aggressive, yeah, but hummed, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty weird. If you don't have food in your mouth, they're nowhere to be found. You look around. What's going there? I feel like they're doing it on purpose. It's their idea of a joke. If I were, because how else am I gonna sue them for making my soup too hot? I can't say, hey, I'm gonna sue you. My soup is too hot, and that's no good. That's bad. I don't like my soup hot. You didn't tell me that. If I were in charge, I'd put a sign that says, warning, soup may be boiling hot. Please be very careful. So do you guys remember those as seen on TV commercials? Yeah, those are bizarre. I don't know why, but I noticed that all of them look like high school film projects. That the guy goes up to his friends and is just like, yo guys, I got a great idea. How about we make a cheap piece of plastic and sell it like it's the best thing ever? Well, that sounds like a good idea, but how are we gonna do it if none of us can act? Well, actually, it's gonna be super easy, barely an inconvenience. Really, all we're gonna do is exaggerate everything, and especially when we're talking. Well, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. The acting in it is terrible. I wonder if someone who wanted to be in it could act, that he'd go to the director and say, yes, I can act. Oh, you can act? Well, we'll keep in touch. Or in other words, oh, you can act? We're never going to call you. Yeah, I hate how they're always generalizing us. They're just like, how many times has this happened to you? Oh, well, now that you mention it, never. That's never happened. I've never been so lazy that I can't flip a light switch. If I were to narrate one of those, it'd just be like, hi, future internet meme here, back at it again. Are you tired of having to get out of bed and flip that flipping light switch? Well, now you don't have to. Introducing the Clapper, the revolutionary product just for you. Only $19.99 plus $12.99 shipping and handling. And if you order now, we'll double your offer. Just pay us more money. Yeah, I feel like the only person who would use the Clapper is a 65-year-old guy talking to his buddies in the sauna. He would just be like, hey, do you guys remember the Clapper? I remember those days. Man, I remember when that was like yesterday. Also because it was yesterday. Oh, man. When I got that Clapper, I was so excited because then I didn't have to flip the light switch because my back would die. But now that I have it, no back pain. Look at me now. All right, I'll see you later. All right, that's it.
Woo! Woo!
Woo, go Evan!
Yeah. Woo.
Right. There's something I love about watching a 21-year-old do a 65-year-old. That's awesome. All right, we have a few announcements coming up. So listen in on those, what's going on at Held Together. And then please stay tuned. We have another hilarious comic coming up after the announcement. So get ready.
Tomorrow night, Saturday at 8 p.m. is the 4th episode of our 2nd season of Held Apart, the improv and sketch comedy show, with our very special guests, KK Huang, Victor Law, and Rick Ramirez. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, August 29th, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., we have a free Introduction to Improv online workshop. Open to anybody who's new to Held Together. If you feel like, hey, improv might be something I want to give a try, here's your chance. And it's free. We have got a beginning improv foundations online class starting Wednesday, September 9th, going through the 30th. And that'll be on Wednesdays from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. taught by me, where you will be able to explore the tools for creating the art of unscripted comedy. This class is open to improv students of all levels. It's a great way to learn the foundations, and if you're an advanced student, it's a great way to freshen up those foundational skills. Starting September 21st, Darren will be leading a narrative improv class for 4 weeks, going from Monday, September 21st through October 12th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is a great opportunity to learn all about the tools to creating great narrative improv. Coming Saturday, September 19th at 8 p.m., we have got Distant Desires, an improvised soap opera. This is directed by Darren Held and is the culmination of a improvising soap opera's performance class. Check out these students as they bring you drama, intrigue, sex, betrayal, and more. Coming Friday, September 25th is our next Held2gether Student Jam, where our improv students will have a chance to play some improv games online for our YouTube audience. And there will be a special performance by a student team. That is Friday, September 25th at 8 p.m. Coming next Friday, September 4th, we have a very special event, Improv and Grief, a conversation with Kendra Nicholson. I was fortunate enough to be able to sit down with Kendra, who is our former level 1 improv instructor and improv troupe mate, and discuss with her how the tools of improv for life have helped her over the last couple of years with the loss of her son and in writing a book about that loss. That's going to be streamed exclusively here on YouTube at 8 p.m. on Friday, September 4th. All of this information and more can be found online on our website, www.held2gether.com. That's held, the number 2, gether.com, as well as our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Just search at Held2gether. While you're here on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you will be up to date with all of our current shows. Let's go ahead and turn it back over to our lovely host, Miss Mallory White.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Hi, you guys. Oh, oops, sorry about that. Dying. Yeah, thank you, Richard. And speaking of Richard, our very own beloved Richard Martinez is the next comic. So put your hands together for him.
Hi. All right, so I got to do some technical stuff here. This is a green screen that should be there. Hi, everybody. I am Richard Martinez, and so hold on. My background doesn't want to go on. During our Held Apart show on Saturday nights, we typically will have a news story show that goes on, and with me, Liz and I do that. We react to the news headlines over the week, and we usually film that in advance. But with this week having the Republican National Convention going on, I felt like there's some headlines I couldn't get to that would be too late next week. So here we go. Against my therapist's advice, I did spend the majority of the week watching the Republican National Convention, because when it comes to figuring out who to vote for, I always make sure to check in with where the My Pillow guy is lending his support. This week's RNC speeches were confusing for me because they reminded me of so many of my favorite fictional TV and movie shows. It was like a dash of The Handmaid's Tale, a drop of The Hunger Games, a whole shitload of The Avengers, if The Avengers were a bunch of racist, sexist, and homophobic white people not wanting to give up their power while actively trying to help Thanos wipe out half the population. You know, the overall theme of the Republican National Convention seemed to be that if you vote for Biden, you'll end up with 4 more years of the hell that we're currently living in, which is Trump's America, right? Like he's still president, right? And he has been for the last 3.5 years, and 180,000 Americans are dead under his watch, right? That's like if the captain of the Titanic would say, hey, if you get on that rescue boat, you're gonna sink even more. Make the Titanic great again. Let's talk about some of these RNC speeches, shall we? Donald Trump Jr.'s speech at the Republican National Convention came off as very erratic and led many people to speculate that his glassy eyes were a sign that he was on drugs. Personally, I'm a bit surprised because Donald Trump Jr. is the last person that I would expect to follow Michelle Obama's advice. You know, when they go low, he got high. Don Jr.'s girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, gave a memorable speech also, where she didn't seem to realize that there was no one in the audience for her speech, like doing stand-up comedy over Zoom. She was like, when I say white, you say power. White. You know, I felt bad for her because it looked like she was at like a community theater audition for Evita. She's like, don't cry for me, America. My boyfriend is the president's second favorite child, behind Ivanka. The president wants to be behind Ivanka. I know. That's not fair of me to suggest that the president of the United States wants to sleep with his daughter. It's not fair for me to say that. So let's take his word for it. Quote, don't you think my daughter's hot? She's hot, right? End quote. Said by Trump at the 1997 Miss Teen USA pageant about a then 16-year-old Ivanka. Quote, my daughter Ivanka, she's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body. End quote. Donald Trump said in a 2003 interview with Howard Stern. When asked if Ivanka would ever pose for Playboy, Trump is quoted as saying, I don't think Ivanka would do that. Although she does have a very nice figure, I've said if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Donald Trump, 2016 interview on The View. It's kind of gross. Speaking of Ivanka, the woman Trump wishes was the actual first lady was criticized for her RNC speech where she said that her son built a Lego replica of the White House for her father. Turns out that she told the same story about herself in 2007, just a year after he was on The View talking about how he wanted to sleep with her. But this time, instead of the White House, it was Trump Tower. Didn't anyone tell Ivanka that plagiarizing speeches was the job of the first lady? Oh, got it. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell made a pre-taped appearance at the RNC, despite the fact that he is under bipartisan pressure to recall the Senate from their vacation in order to get a vote regarding the second COVID-19 related stimulus check. In an unsurprising move, Mitch McConnell seems incapable of stimulating anything. As part of the Republican Party platform, Vice President Mike Pence has pledged that he will protect America's red meat from the Biden-Harris campaign. And you know what? I know that I give Mike Pence a hard time. I do. But I genuinely believe him when he says that he will do all he can to protect America's meat. I believe he's going to be real hands-on with that. President Trump's Thursday night convention speech, making the case for his re-election, had lower ratings than his challenger Joe Biden's speech 1 week ago, according to the overnight Nielsen ratings. Trump did, however, have the bigger numbers when it came to how many people he exposed to the coronavirus at his convention. Not only did Biden's convention speech draw bigger ratings than Trump's convention speech, the ratings for Kamala Harris's speech also beat Trump's ratings, proving that once viewers go black, they still might not turn up to vote. So please vote, please, 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 please. You know, the RNC could have been an opportunity for Republicans to reach out to independents or those on the fence. Instead, they chose to lean in hard on vilifying Democrats. While Biden explicitly said in his speech that he would be a president for all Americans, even those who didn't vote for him, Trump went with the Mariah Carey route. Democrats? I don't know her. And this is symbolic of where we are in the country. The lines have been drawn in the sand and we are a powder keg waiting to erupt, right? Like they say in Hamilton. We're seeing that right now in Kenosha and all over the country, where racial tensions are high because far too many people are incapable of saying and acting on the belief that Black lives matter, which for the record, they do. And in November, we as American voters can decide whether we show up, vote, and get to work on rebuilding this country, or if we'll vote for the captain of the Titanic. Before I say goodnight, let me just reiterate, Black Lives Matter and Wakanda Forever. My name is Richard Martinez, and thank you for watching.
Woohoo!
Woohoo, yeah.
Outstanding.
Stuff. So everybody is coming out to say thank you. Isn't that right? And yes, please vote. Do not be complacent. Go and vote. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, comics.
Thank you. Bye. Yay.
Bye.